I think. Look, yeah. I think Almone might come into the lineup this week.
Almone's good. I think. Look, and I
He's
think
a ball runner. I think Sullivan will probably either slot to the bench.
no, you got to stick, pick and stick, stake with
He's
Sullivan.
got to go
got
somewhere,
potential.
or maybe Hunt will go to hooker and give Sullivan the 7.
Hunt anywhere.
Almone, look, Talatau Almone has to start.
Yeah.
I think he might come into the 17 this week.
I think he's good, and I think
Even off the bench.
He needs
if
to
you're
come
not going
back.
to start him off the bench.
He's had a rough couple of months, and now he's been sort of exonerated from everything. He's back. Let him play. Let him show what he's worth.
I think, yeah.
So that was the round 4 review. It was a great round. It was the bunker that blundered it for us.
Just one game ruled it.
But
One blowout game.
It's like the 7th time. Or 8th time.
Just that blowout game.
we should have a bunker counter. Like how many times I mentioned the bunker
Every
in
time
the
it
game?
says bungers, go beep.
Beep it out. So round 5 preview. We start with the Rabbit Roosters and the Eels on Thursday night.
It's gonna be a good game.
What a game! I can't even call this. Really, I looked at the Eels lineup and the Roosters
So
lineup.
is that Allianz Stadium?
They both got key outs.
Yeah.
So you
That's
got,
actually.
it's at the Allianz.
Is it? It's at Allianz.
You got Joey Manu out from the Roosters. That's a key out. But then you got Parramatta's forward pack leader out, Junior Paulo. I think it's a massive loss.
It's a big loss. Yeah.
I think it
Down the middle,
sort of cancels it out a little bit because I think
I know you got Wurumu.
Bowler does a lot for the Eels, and then Manu plays out of his behind for the
Yeah,
Roosters.
so-
So
You got Wurumu, Greg. I know he offers impact, but I don't think he offers it for an extended period like Paulo does.
Agreed.
So I'm going to go Roosters on this.
Absolutely.
Roosters by 12 for me.
I think you know why I want to go Roosters. I think that Joseph Suali'i will come out and just blitz it. I think he's going to come out and just show everyone why he's worth what he's worth. He's a big game player, I think, and he can pull plays out of anything. That's the only reason I'm going the Roosters. I think Roosters by 4, honestly, 4 or 6. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes down to Golden Point. I think
Of course, from what we've seen,
it'll be that
you're
close.
Right, yeah.
It'll be that close.
Roosters by 12.
I'll probably say I want to say Roosters,
Yeah.
but I feel like maybe the Eels will have a bit of confidence coming out of last week's win.
Yeah, they
and
will.
I feel like
One win
maybe
does
the
you a lot.
momentum.
Absolutely.
I think that, like, as much as I hate to say this and admit it, but I think the momentum from last week's big win over the Penrith Panthers will probably just get them over the line here. And it's at Allianz, so it's an Eels home game.
Well,
There's going to be more
which
Eels
round is the
supporters.
Roosters' home ground?
I don't know. Wherever they have more supporters.
Hover over when the Dragons are losing.
And then the 6 p.m. Friday game, it's going to be Raiders and Panthers. Look, I think the Raiders will hit back, but I also think the Panthers will.
Look, you're missing the Raiders got a key out and Jack White.
Yeah.
I think is that not going to sway your decision, or because Canberra does have a history of winning games that they need to win against tough opposition. Is this one of those?
I think.
Or are they going to let us down once again?
I don't think they're strong enough for the Panthers. I think they might come out strong. I think they might keep neck to neck with the Panthers maybe for the first half. But I feel like towards the end of the game, I feel like the Panthers are going to sort of.
Zach Hoskins was a revelation last week. I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Hostings played out of his skin.
He was good at Brisbane, so he's
But
Penrith by 14.
wait, Zach.
I know it's away from home, but I'm still going Penrith by 14.
probably say-
Zach Hoskins is starting.
Oh, is he starting this
Yeah, he's
week?
taking over Luke Garner.
Wow.
I always thought Garner wasn't a starter anyway, so
I look, Hosking outplayed Garner 10-1.
Garner's out of the hole.
The only thing that I like about the Raiders is that Fogarty is back. While obviously Wyden is a big out, I think Fogarty adds a lot to their attack. So I do think the Panthers win, but I think it'll be closer than.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot closer.
I think it'll probably be like Panthers by like 16 or something.
I reckon
feel
Panthers
like-
by 12.
I feel like they're gonna
I think we've all gone
just come
similar,
out.
12, 14.
I reckon
Yeah, I
12,
feel like
6 to
yeah.
12.
Could even be more.
Rabbitohs and Storm. It'll be a good game.
Barnstorming game. A depleted Storm. They're still missing their halfback and a few forwards. But
You got Salamona
and look,
out
I know, he's a big loss.
Jonah Pezzett had a
he's a very confident
couple of
player,
games.
right?
He's a very confident player.
West Tigers need him. Anyway,
But I think Rabbitohs are...
look, Rabbitohs are missing a few forwards, but after last week, I'm going to go Rabbitohs again. I think I'm going to go Rabbitohs.
They've
by
still
12.
got their core, which is, I think, a big part of it.
And let me say,
Totola's not playing, but still.
the development of Lachlan Elias is unbelievable. I'm
You're
so
starting
happy
to
for him.
really see him, shine.
He's an out-and-out halfback. Like, that's what I love seeing. I love seeing young halfbacks come into the game and be halfbacks, not try and be anything else.
Souths,
Yeah.
they got big depth as well. I know they're missing a few forwards, but just to give you an example, if you look at their 22, like Peter Mamazoulis,
Yeah.
he can't even crack the 22. And you put him in a lot of other clubs and he'd probably be a starting
He
hooker.
played really well when he played last year when he had the chance.
Yeah.
And look, I still think, they've got a decent back line, right? They've got their halves are still there. I think Saluka Fafita had a very good game last week against Manly, even though I think Manly's forwards did outmuscle the Rabbitohs forwards because they've got so many injuries. I still think they had a good game. I think Michael Chican, they played him as a forward. He played well.
He's very experienced campaigner.
Very experienced campaigner. And to be honest, when the Tigers got rid of him, I thought I understood why, but I sort of also questioned whether it was the right move. But anyway, I'm calling Rabbitohs by 6. I don't think they'll blow Melbourne off the park, because I do think that that the Melbourne Storm are getting a little bit better. The young guys are starting to gain a little bit more experience. And great, what's his name? Bellyache will have them up for the game.
Yeah.
So I think
I don't know. I just think that minus Jerome Hughes, Solomona, and no Pappenhausen, and the way they played against the Tigers, I find it really. But again, like you said, Bellamy is a master coach, but I still think the Rabbits. Sorry, not the Rats. Not about It's the Rabbits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I blanked out for a moment.
Rabbits and Storm.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like the Rabbits
are
going to...
about the Cowboys, bro.
we're going to get there. But I do think that, the Rabbits will probably win by probably 12. I think by 12 points.
6 to 12. Honestly, I don't think it will be a blowout.
I had them by 12. I got the Rabbits by 12.
I don't think it will be a blowout. I hope not anyway.
No, I don't think it'll be a blowout. About 12 is...
And then you've got Seagulls on nights, 3 p.m. on Saturday.
I think Seagulls will bounce back. Look, I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a close and spiteful clash, to be honest.
You think so?
I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a lot closer than people expect.
Yeah, I do think.
I'll go Manly by 8 or 10.
I'll go Manly by 12. But the one thing I'm realizing about the Knights is I think they're starting to come to terms with life after Kalen Ponga. I think that's what it was last week, where they said, okay, this is the team we've got. We're missing Kalen. Sure, he's injured. He's in Canada. He's doing his testing. Let's just put that behind us and let's go out there and play footy.
Yeah.
And I think they did that very well last week. I do think they'll do that this week. Manly's going to be too strong for them in the forwards. That's what I think. Yeah. And the experience in that with DCE and Tommy Turbo being there, Manly will win, but I think Knights will give a good account of themselves again. Yeah.
I think similar. Like I think Manly's going to be too strong.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a bit. I'd probably say like 18.
I hope it isn't.
I feel like it is. If Tommy Turbo's on his game, which he usually is. I just think it's going to be too
Is
good.
Turbo the most creative fullback in the game? Because he's got good set of ball playing skills to him as well. He's got a bit of vision.
I love watching him. Like
he's everywhere. He runs more than other fullbacks.
I think take Turbo out of the Manly team, and I don't even think they're a top 8 team. I personally think.
Look, I don't disagree with you. But I think if Turbo, God forbid, was to get injured, I do think Manly will struggle to.
Oh, hands down, his impact's so huge. You could tell.
But he's not the most creative forward. I think the thing about
are you talking about Jake or Tom?
Tom.
He's
not the most creative. The thing about Tom is that he's fast, he's big, he's aggressive, and he's got good positioning, and he's just like an all-round fullback, and he's got
everywhere you need him.
He's everywhere you need him
at the right time.
The most creative fullback, I would say, and people might disagree with me on this, but I think Scott Drinkwater's up there.
Of course.
Honestly,
AJ Brimson or not?
I swear to God, I was thinking either Scott Drinkwater or AJ Brimson.
But you can't discount Turbo Tom.
I'm not at all.
I know. Latrell's a power player.
Oh, I forgot about Latrell.
But he's a power player.
Latrell's a power player. I think Tommy is a power player. Whereas if you look at Scott Drinkwater and AJ Brimson,
I reckon all those you just mentioned are more creative than Tedesco. That's my personal opinion.
I actually think that what gets Tedesco across the line is that he's an Energizer bunny. He just doesn't stop.
He's like Mini. Remember Mini?
Yeah, he's exactly like Minicello.
He just keeps
Reece Wesser. Reece Wesser's Energizer.
You know what annoys me about Tedesco is that I think sometimes he's too energetic for his own good, where he tries to do the hero play. A lot of time, I've seen that with New South Wales. We've seen that with Roosters, where he can pass the ball and let someone else.
Remind me of Paul Gallen, just taking too much of the workload, and it just became too predictable. So,
did you remember how Bo Ryan used to do the imitation of Paul Gallen, where he would minimize Paul Gallen's head and just be like,
choo-choo train.
The
D-train.
Bro, I used to love that.
So predictable.
I can't believe Bo Ryan's not on. He was such a good person to have commentating NRL. Anyway, so Sea Eagles. Dragons, Dolphins. I think Dragons will bounce back, but I think Dolphins, they've got a lot of injuries.
They're missing... You know what? It depends how well Milford will go in the halves, him in Qatar.
Yeah.
Because I know O'Sullivan's out. It's a big loss because he's been really
massive
good.
Loss.
And Tessie
new, but I think this new kid, Bostock's got the goods in him.
Yeah, I do think he does.
It just comes down, I think, how the halves are going to go.
Marshall King's back as well.
Yeah,
I think Marshall King
whether the forwards...
So much.
Yeah.
I know St. George's got a lot to prove. I've seen the list there. I know Talatau Amon and DeBellin are in the 22. I do expect them both to come into the 17.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I mean, I could probably nominate maybe Couchman and Kerr would miss out.
You don't think Jack DeBellin will be in?
No, I think he'll be in. I think Kerr and Carlton will probably come out, and DeBellin and Amon will come in.
I think Kerr had a great game though. Like
He did. Don't get me wrong, he did. But I just can't say. I mean, Musgrave's.
But Musgrave, you can't drop.
He's playing really good. But Jack Bird was underwhelming, so they might start him this week instead of putting him.
You have to start. I think you have to give Jack Bird.
He has to start.
I
think he was better off starting than coming off the bench. Look, I think St George got a lot to prove. It's down in Wollongong. I'm actually going to throw this one out of left field and say St George by 4. It's the first time I've tipped them this year.
Take your St George Sunnies off, because let me tell you, they've got Isaiah Katoa and Anthony Milford in the halves. They've got Jeremy Marshall-King back at 9. They've got Jared Wallace, Mark Nichols, Ray Stone and Mason Teague on the bench, whereas the Dragons have Jacob Little, Zane Musgrove, Toby Catchman and Josh Kerr. I think that the Dolphins have a better bench, and I think overall that the starting lineup for the Dolphins is still very strong and very consistent. And even though O'Sullivan is a big loss, I think they still have a good team. Branko Lee is there. Aiken. They've been very consistent.
I just think that's just my opinion. I think they've got a lot to prove St George. They're going to come out, play out of their skins. I think Dolphins last week had a pulsating game against Brisbane. I think it's probably taken a bit out of them.
No, I think that
as a player,
out of that.
As a player, if you remember when you played as well, if you had a pulsating game, you'd probably feel it for the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely,
and I guarantee these guys wouldn't be any different.
I think I still lean toward the Dolphins, and I think it's going to be a close one.
I'm just saying, I'm throwing out of left field.
I reckon Dolphins by 12.
I'd love to go to. I mean, I was thinking Dolphins, but I think you know what? You get embarrassed 40-8 at home. They got to really bounce back.
But the week before they lost by 40.
Well. They really got to. They're desperate. If they don't get it this week, then they might go on a 5 or 6, 7 match losing streak.
I think that the Dolphins will win by 12. That's
a good shout, yeah, man.
Broncos and Tigers. I think Tigers are in for a lot of pain. Adam Dewey.
I think we could just skip this one.
I was going to say
Broncos by 30.
Broncos by 20.
Yeah, I
wish the Tigers pull rabbit out of the hat, and I'm praying that they do, but I just don't think
Sean Blaw's not in their 17.
Which I don't understand.
I mean, if you remember a few years ago, he absolutely Nathan Brown, he sat Nathan Brown on his ass. When Nathan Brown thought he was a bad boy, but you could tell he wasn't.
Bro, the last 15 minutes against the Dogs, it was all Sean Blaw. It was literally all Sean Blaw running through.
I don't understand why he's not in the 17. Is there something that's happened? I mean, Dane Laurie's back out of the 17
Why
as
is
well.
Stafford Toa? Oh, do you know what it might be? I actually think Adam Dewey might.
They obviously got a game plan. Yeah.
I thought Adam Dewey didn't have a good game at fullback. I'll be honest.
I know Wakeham's at 6, but I mean Dan Laurie's a fullback, week in week out fullback. They'll give you a good 80-minute performance.
He's pretty decent.
I actually like Dan Laurie.
Is he short of match fitness? Tim Sheen's having another game plan up his sleeve.
Do you think he's just trialing? Is that what it is? Trial and error?
But the problem is, like, when the team's going bad, you try and make decisions that you think will help elevate the team based on some things you saw the week before. And I think that's why against the Dogs, when they brought Wakeham on and moved Dewey to fullback, right, they thought this is how we're going to win. And it didn't work against the Storm. And I don't think it's going to work again against the Broncos. Not only because the Broncos are good, but I think that if you make a big move like that, give it some weeks to work. And also it's almost like you're blaming Dane Laurie for saying you're not good enough. Where actually I think Dane Laurie's been trying his heart out. It's one of the best players. I can't blame him for... Yeah, but look,
which way are you going with this?
Broncos by 50.
I think it's going to be a blowout.
I hope it doesn't. I really hope it's like Tigers by...
I was going to say Broncos either by 16 or 20.
Yeah,
I got that
13 plus. I think Broncos by 13 plus.
I'll go Broncos by 20.
Yeah. Sharks Warriors Sunday at 4 p.m.
I think Sharks. Like if Nico Hines is back, he's such a good player, man.
Look, man,
I think Storms regret getting rid of him.
You know what? Warriors got a good forward pack.
Yeah,
they can match the Cronulla forward pack. I'm just looking at the list.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Warriors by 6 for this one.
Yeah, you got to. You can't just keep saying home side and it's a good shout. It's actually a very good shout.
And to be honest, I think that the Warriors have it in them this year.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, mate,
they are an 80-minute team. The years gone by, Warriors have not been 80-minute teams. This year, we saw that against the Cowboys. Yeah. We saw that against the Bulldogs. They are an 80-minute team. I think if Tohu Harris plays, because he's been named, but I don't think he will play.
I hope Volkman has a gun of a game at 5'8", because Volkman's in. Ronald Volkman's starting.
Yeah, but I mean, what happened to Mari Martin?
He's out for HIR, I think.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah, but Volkman's a huge potential.
They bought him from the Roosters. He had big raps on him at the Roosters. He's gone to the Warriors. Yeah, I also hope he has a good game. So I'm calling Warriors by 4. How do you guys see this?
It's a tough one. I'm going to go Cronulla by 8 or even 10 because of their last performance against St George. Just, it's just like they're irresistible because from 1 to 13 and their bench, they got strike weapons everywhere.
Yeah.
You got to give them that shout.
Yeah.
And look, Warriors they got a good forward pack, but just on. Just got to give it's a Cronulla home game as well. You got to get them over the line.
I also think Cronulla hasn't been that great, even though Nico Hines has been out. They had a good game last week with Nico Hines, but I do think, Warriors.
Every ball they touched was magic.
Yeah, I think Sharks by 2.
It's a close one.
I think it's going to be a very, very
could be golden point. I honestly wouldn't even be surprised.
Sharks by 10. That's not a blowout score.
I'm going Warriors by 4. Not a blowout.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Yeah. It's not a blowout score.
Finally, last game of the round.
One that we've been waiting for.
Oh my God, Dogs and Cowboys. Josh Reynolds makes his long-awaited return to the Bulldogs.
Absolute disaster.
I
think so.
Yeah, because 1 minute left on the clock, Reynolds will kick a drop goal, and Canterbury will lose 30-13. just kidding.
I don't think that it's a bad move, but I also don't think it's the right move because I want to see Josh Reynolds back. Because what I think could happen potentially is we could see if that attack is stagnant, we could see maybe Cole Flanagan hooked with Reynolds going in there alongside Burton. I think he'd create that X factor. Or even, you could take someone like a Raymond Fatala Mariner off, bring Reynolds in. He can sort of play that roaming player to sort of link between be a link between the halves and the centres, which I don't think is a bad idea. But it's our forwards. That's where we're struggling. 3 weeks in a row, we've been gassed at the 65th minute. Having said that, we've got Waddell, Pele, and Ockenbaugh. It's probably one of the better benches now we've had over the first 5 weeks. If Pele can get, if we can get 20 minutes out of Pele and half an hour out of Ockenbaugh and half an hour out of Waddell and even 15, 20 minutes out of Reynolds, I do think we'll go a long way to winning because we have the attack in us. What we've seen is we have the attack and the defense in us, but we're gassed. I think that's the biggest problem the Bulldogs have.
Accor, is it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I got Canterbury winning this game. Last week, Gold Coast should have beaten the Cowboys, I thought.
Yeah.
I know Cowboys have had a few ins, but they've also had a few outs at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
Shibasaki, Tamo,
they lost Nanai, they've lost Tuolagi and Tamo.
Look,
even Tamo's I know he's on the back end of his career, but he's still a man mountain. And he played really well last week, but Nanai and Tuolagi I feel are big losses.
Huge losses.
I know they get Hiku back.
Yeah.
But still, I think
Tom Chester's been a really good fullback.
Oh, he was great. Yeah, he was very full of energy.
Some very, very, very questionable plays. I was looking at that. I'm like, that's frustration.
But that's youth as well.
Is it inexperience?
It's very much
because there were a couple of things he did there, like the 3-on-1 strip. I'm like, what
are you doing? Also, when he threw the ball back in and they almost scored.
Yeah, I was like,
I remember Billy Slater in his first season did that, right?
Yeah.
And it was more his willingness to make the right play and take the risk as opposed to let it go out, whatever. I think Tom Chester's going to develop into a great fullback. Do I think that they have the team to beat the Bulldogs? This may be one-eyed, but I think the Bulldogs by 6.
I got Bulldogs by 10. I was going to actually do it more, but I think Cowboys, if they're going to have one of those uninspiring games again, this is the game they're going to actually come unstuck.
Yeah.
Bulldogs bench, and you got Jackson Torpeny. When does he get a run?
I don't understand why Torpeny doesn't get a run.
Ockenbaugh hasn't really been getting minutes. Either give him the minutes or put Torpeny in there, and he deserves a run. I didn't like Josh Reynolds being in there. I don't think he should even be in the squad whatsoever. I don't think he's going to be up to the rigours of first grade this year at all. I think it'll be his last season.
Yeah.
I think Torpeny should have been there. If you had Torpeny, Waddell, Pele, and Ockenbaugh, all of a sudden
Waddell's got a lift. He should be offering more. Pele really need a big game out of Pele.
But the thing is, Pele isn't given the minutes. I don't know if that's fitness. I don't know if that's the coach not trusting him. I don't know what it is. But Pele, I think
I would have given Olawaipu his debut now instead of Reynolds. Right, and I would have loved that there. And if you're not going to have Ockenbaugh in the 17, I'd have Torpeny in 17.
Why are they bringing Reynolds back? I feel like it's like a fairy tale thing. It's bringing the Prince of Belmore back.
I think that's just wrong.
The thing is, they had Fa'amanu Brown there, I
thought he was a good option at 14.
Yeah, he's not a bad option, but he was bringing him on as a forward, and that's where I think Fa'amanu Brown wasn't up to scratch. If you kept him in at that lock position, he can roam and pass and stuff. Okay, well, I think Josh, if as I say, if we can even just get 20 minutes out of each of our forwards, right? That gives kick out, Mariner, Sutton, King some rest. We can get towards a healthy stamina level towards the 65th minute. If that happens, I do think towards the end of the game we can hold any team out. Like our defense is really good.
If your forwards play well and he's limit Tamalalo, he's a win. I got he's by 10.
I agree. I think I do think Faitala Mariner, he's not a lock.
They got to keep Tamalalo quiet.
I think Mariner is more of a second rower than a lock. I think have like a Preston at lock. Let him, because he seems to be able to pass the ball a lot better than Faitala Mariner does. I reckon have Preston at lock and tell him, hey, go around and link up with your centers. That's fine. But look, the other thing that I think I have to mention, and look, honestly, I'm not picking on one player, but we need more out of Flanagan. I just think Burton is trying to do too much. He's not able to play his natural game. He's not able to hit those big bombs. He's trying to do the safe kicks now because I think Flanagan is like, it's either he's been told not to kick or he's scared to kick. He's always looking to pass or to offload the ball on 5th. Brother, you're a 7. Play like a 7. That's what we want from you. Bro, make mistakes, learn from them and get better. Don't be scared.
Sometimes he's very pedestrian. Like a whole set, you won't touch the ball. Or even a set and a half.
He needs to get a bit more involved. Yeah.
He's just scared. He's like, his confidence is shot. Maybe he needs to go to the Super League to play in a different league to see how well he can play and come back. Maybe he needs to go to a different team.
He had a lot of changes though. Like, he came from the Roosters, the Sharks, and the Dogs.
Sorry, look, Trent Barrett stuffed
just back on Preston. I think the reason why your coach has him in the second row, because if you watch Preston, he's actually been very effective as a wide running second row.
He has been, yes.
So he probably sees him as more effective running wide than Raymond Faitala Mariner. That's why why Mariner's more up the middle. That's,
as a prop, sort of.
Yeah, or he does more defensive work as well. That could possibly be it. I mean, again, it wouldn't hurt to probably get an explanation from the coach.
Hey, Cameron, if you ever watch this, please just tell us why are you only playing with 15 and a half players?
2.5 men off the bench.
Yeah.
Before I make my
men. We just want to know, why are you not playing all your players and giving them sufficient time on the bench? I mean, I know you've got a strategy and I know the Dogs have improved, but I think we could have been even better with a better rotation. Please explain. Thank you.
Before my pick, I think the Cowboys.
Yeah, I want to hear the Cowboys.
I actually think the Cowboys are going to come out strong in the beginning. They always do this, right?
Yeah.
They do. They always come out strong in the beginning, and I think the Dogs have this tendency, and they've done this before, where sometimes they don't start the best, but then they can come out pretty strong in the mid half of the game.
Yeah.
But then you're right, that 60th minute, that 65th minute comes along, and they start to fade off. Yeah. And I feel like the Cowboys are going to just get them. I think if the Dogs do fade off in that 65th, it's going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think because of the Dogs' tendency to do that at the end, I think the Cowboys will just pip them. But the fact that you've got Nanai, Tuolagi, you've got all these players out, if Tamalolo fires, like you mentioned, I actually think he's one of the only players to sign a 10-year contract and only get better as he ages. Like, he's getting a bit older now.
I don't think he got better. I think he just played at a consistent level.
Yeah, but I mean, how many players have you seen sign 5-year contracts and then 3 years into the other than Ben Hunt?
I feel like in the beginning when he first signed his 10-year contract, he did get better. Like he really upped his game and then he stabilised.
I thought he undervalued himself at the start.
Yeah, but like he's in, week out. He puts in the effort. You know, he took us to the grand final in 2017. Just off the back of that work that he did.
300. Why was averaging 280 meters again? What the hell is that?
He made Jonathan Thurston look like a fraud. But you know,
the thing about him is he's also he's had a different role now with Todd Payton, which I think has suited him as well, and he's come back to sort of being that consistent Taumalolo.
That's right.
I don't think they're getting the best out of him this year yet, but if we can keep Taumalolo quiet,
they're preserving his playing minutes, which is good.
Yeah,
they don't go to prolong his career.
Why I think also we can get it is Tom Chester's still inexperienced at fullback. If we can put in the right kicks, if we can continue to kick the corners, if we can pressure Carl Felt and Brendan Elliott, who I don't think is the best winger, I think we can because our line speed this year has been great. Like, even when we're tired, I still think our line speed's been great. It's just the 1%ers that we've missed out on. And I do think it's been one or two players. Like, I'm not going to point them out, but it's been one or two players in the 3 rounds that have made the same errors and teams have targeted them. Yeah. So if we can cut that out and shore up that little bit of a defense in the last 15, 20 minutes, honestly, I think the Dogs will win this, not by a big margin, but comfortably. They won't look like they're going to lose, or they won't look like they're under too much pressure. Having said that, if the Cowboys come out and win, I also won't be surprised because I know the quality of the Cowboys team. But
it's just been uninspiring at the moment.
But let me say this.
When are they going to hit?
Let me say this for the Doggies fans: Cowboys by 20. No.
See that?
Just letting you know. I'm just trying to make our guest happy. Doggies by 24.
That's a big shout, eh? 24, right?
It's just for the fans.
But I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, it'll be a great game.
Dogs by 10. Yeah.
Dogs by 10. Yeah. Cowboys by.
I reckon by 4. It's going to be like nothing in it. I think.